Anyone ever encounter a strange being? Not the usual greys, demons, or Bigfoot. I remember hearing a story about someone who's seen a woman with puppet-like skin as a child. That kind of strangeness.
I had a super fluffy teddy bear as a kid. It moved like an infant or something, made cute, reassuring noises, and sometimes a guy in a white suit with white hair and a long, thin microphone was there to translate for it. The longer they were in my room, the more things would fade out into clouds and sky. I don't remember anything that was said, but they knew me and was trying to teach me something or get me to do something or remember something. None of which I do. 5 years old or so, when we moved, the bear was nowhere, and I never saw the guy again. True shit. To give a better picture of the bear, it looked and moved like a mix between that fabric softener mascot and a koala, with hair or fur like a long-haired cat. All white, except the features were light, silvery gray colored. Loved that little thing. Was always super excited to see it. Not scary, but weird. Mom thinks it was UFO shit, and Dad thought it was spiritual. But I remember that when they found out about it, they asked me about it. Told them about the bear, but they asked specifically about the old man. Told them the bear was always around doing something, and the guy hardly ever showed up. But he was nice because he could tell me what the bear was saying. Not too long after, my baby sister woke up screaming in her crib with shallow scratches or cuts. She's fine, don't remember, no scars. All over her. Moved in the next few days to my grandparents.
I love the idea of that, given that I have had teddy bears for years. Any more details you can share?
Not a lot. The guy was obviously subservient to the bear, I remember. After a while, with the room changing to clouds and sky, sometimes he would stand at a pulpit or pedestal type of thing. Kinda reminded me of a real sweet game show host. Neat pick, by the way. I'll check here every now and again. Any specific questions might help me remember things, but given I can't remember what was said, or if I even ever asked their names, I probably can't. LOL.
Yeah, I was stalked by this thing with a tail and horns in high school. It stood upright and could shape-shift. It would sometimes walk on all fours. It looked kind of like the thing on the cover of Shadow of the Colossus. It would usually appear late at night, skulking around my backyard, and occasionally show up in the hallway without making a noise. It appeared during the day as a man wearing a button-up shirt, black pants, a black jacket, a black bolo tie, and a black hat. It had black eyes with some red and yellow and an evil grin. It would send me mental images of things such as what my friends were doing at any given moment, or the location of my house long before anyone lived in the area. There was a time when it showed me where it would hang out, in hopes I'd investigate. So I went there and saw the man I described standing in the middle of an empty field staring at me and smiling. I made a post here on /x/years ago asking what it could have been, and someone said a Mishapeshu and that I should talk to someone from the tribe who might know more. This all happened in the mid to late 2000s on my parents' property not far from tribal land.
Be me, 8 or 10 years old or so. Dad is taking me to meet some of his colleagues. It's a kind of hoity-toity business gathering at a nice library. I wasn't supposed to come along, so Dad warns me to be on my best behavior. I was worried I wasn't dressed fancy enough. It's pretty boring, but the people are nice enough. Dad introduces me to a few people he knows. One guy in particular stood out as he was wearing an emerald green suit. The people around were dressed in nice clothes as well, but this guy had a green suit on. Dad tells me that this man is probably the smartest and wealthiest person in the room. The green man takes a great interest in me because I was known for being a bit precocious and I was pretty articulate for a kid, I guess. He asks me a litany of strange questions about history and science and my opinion on some geopolitical topics. It was absurd, but I was the kind of kid that knew about these sorts of things, and I absorbed information like a sponge. I was basically repeating back to him things I had read in book or seen on TV that seemed to be authoritative. If he asked me about something I didn't know about, I told him as much. That seemed to please him since I wasn't pretending to be more knowledgeable than I was. He continues questioning me, but then something strange happens. I can hear his voice saying something different than what his mouth is saying. I can hear his voice in my head. I'm very confused. As precocious as I was, I had no idea people could do that, so I was a bit surprised. None of the adults freaked out, so I assumed I was just a little slow on the uptake. The green man smiles at my confusion, but then excuses himself in a bit of a hurry. The gathering ends, and we end up leaving. On the drive home, I ask my dad about the man in the green suit, and he has no idea what I'm talking about. I try to explain that he literally introduced me to a man dressed in a green suit, but Dad doesn't recall this. I'm left wondering how he could forget that.
Be me 7 or 8 early 2000s. Visit some buttfuck nowhere with Dad. Mom is on wheelchair, so we rarely took her on stuff like that. First day was normal. We go to eat waffles and take a swim in the nearby lake. On our way to the hotel, see clown. Don't really think much. Go sleep. Wake up at like 3 a.m. and hear creepy laughter. Be too much of a bitch pussy to check it out. Just pretend everything is fine, and go back to sleep eventually. Day 2 was actually normal. Day 3 as well, but on the way back from the lake, we stopped at a McDonald's for food. While shoveling this crap into my mouth, I notice a clown next to our car. Tell Dad. He gets spooked hard and calls the cops. They tell him to fuck off because they don't care about a fucking clown. Eat and go to car. Notice the fucker left a note. MFW, it a party invitation. MFW, it has my name on it. MFW party is tomorrow in woods next to our hotel. Now originally we were supposed to have 5 days of fun and return in the early morning of day 6, but we decided to pack up and fuck off from there on morning of day 4. Night from day 3 to 4. Hear creepy shit. Like nails on a chalkboard and some wired screeching. Can't sleep all night because of that. Morning of day 4. We are putting our suitcases in the car. Dad goes to take a shit, says to stay in the car. Sit there looking through windows. Suddenly a massive congregation of creepy clowns of all shapes and sizes emerges from the woods near hotel and just stands there. Pretty sure they can't be human. One fucker is like good 7 feet tall and another is normal height, but his arms are like twice as long as his legs. They all sing some weird nursery rhyme. Getting ready to fucking die. Wave. Suddenly Dad runs up and we bolt the fuck out of there. Never been happier to see the fucker in my whole life. I honestly forgot about this whole ordeal, thinking it was a dream until Dad reminded me last year. Probably the spookiest thing I experienced.
B 15th, California. City has loads of parks and forestry-type areas. Go to the park closest to my place to smoke a joint. It's an area filled with trees that you can even get lost, but easy to find any of the 30 paths out. It was night. I couldn't get caught. Halfway through, I hear clapping and laughing deeper in down a trail. Decide to go down to see what was up. Got close enough to see 20 to 30 people in robes and some ritualistic offering shit like a skinless animal. They must have smelled my loud caws. Once I got to a point down the trail, they got dead silent, and I heard rustling. I instantly started running the moment I saw them putting out lights. It was already dark as it was. Didn't stop running till I hit the streets. Now I carry.
Friend and I, roughly 12. Don't remember much from childhood except our time together. Lived in a woods. Literally only went home when parents made us. Neighborhood has a small patch of woods. Funnels into a small area of no homes, then into a massive forest. Stay mostly in a woods by the neighborhood. Small streams and such, hiking, riding bikes, etc. One day get bright idea to follow a creek to its end. Stay beside or in the water entire way. Walk for well over an hour. Realize we've entered the forest. Creek empties into a river we didn't know about. Turns out several kids drowned in that river through the years, bodies never found. Happened over decades. We didn't know that at the time, and only found out years later when we built up the nerve to ask his dad about it. Getting late afternoon and hungry, we head back. Walk near the creek, but a little further away this time. See a large mound of earth we missed earlier. Large oak tree sitting on top. Not quite a hill, but a good 15 to 20 feet high. Decide to inspect. Notice a small opening on the side facing away from the creek. Probably a small animal den. Friend was always more adventurous than me. Let's investigate anon. Whatever. He starts poking around inside. Hey, it's pretty big in here. Starts digging around at entrance. Hole large enough to squeeze in. He wasn't kidding. We both fit inside. Hey, Anon. When we get home, let's grab some tools to dig this out. Why not? Get home, get grub, get tools, and we're off. The cave becomes our after-school project. Head directly there every day after school. After a couple weeks, shit was legit. 2 beds made of wood and pine branches. 2 chairs dug into the walls. We could both stand, arms raised and not touch the top. It was like an underground clubhouse. Shit was cash. Hey, Anon wanna stay here Saturday night? Fuck yeah, tell both parents we're staying at the others overnight. Saturday night. We have snacks, board games, flashlights, slingshots, 12-year-old weapon of choice. Make a fire and roast marshmallows. Fuck around in the creek. Kids being kids and loving it. Climb inside at sunset. Found a round wooden tabletop we used to roll in front of the opening for a door. Used a length of pipe to push some holes through one side and the top for ventilation. Settle in, fire goes out. Reading comic books by candlelight inside. Boom! Sounds like a fucking cannon fired. Loud-ass snap and a ground-shaking thud. What the fuck was that? Silence. Dead fucking silence after that. Let's check it out, Anon. Are you fucking serious? Slide tabletop just a bit so we can peek outside. Friend whispers, "Did you see that?" I couldn't talk. I was in front of him, he's basically looking over my shoulder. Saw this thing silhouette. It was cloudy, but the moon was nearly full and gave some light. It was massive. Walked on 4 legs, size of a horse but moved like a cat. If it had fur, I couldn't tell. It looked smooth and possibly gray. It was walking past the mound toward the creek. It stopped. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. I swear it looked right at us. Its eyes weren't visible in the dark, but they had that creepy-ass shine from catching the light. Slowly, so fucking slowly, I started to roll the tabletop back over the opening. Friend hadn't moved. I don't think either of us took a breath. The opening was nearly closed when it let out this sort of gurgle. I don't know how else to describe it. It sounded almost like a snake hissing underwater. One more push and it's closed. One more peek. It fucking turned its coming this way. Quickly, but as quiet as possible, we tried to barricade the door with wood, rocks, anything heavy we could find. Another gurgle. Much closer. I could hear it sniffing near the door. Not sure if at the door or the fire pit. Somehow Friend and I never made a fucking sound. Sitting center of the cave armed with cheap slingshots and steel balls, terrified. Suddenly several large thumps on the mound. It was climbing up. No idea what time it was. Minutes felt like hours. Faint sniffing and gurgling noises. It was sniffing through the vent holes. Oh no, 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 no. We were trapped and this thing knew we were near. Now sniffing and gurgling from the other vent hole. We gonna die tonight. Scratching at the door, this went on for what felt like days. Door, top vent, side vent, repeat. Looking for a way in. Looking to kill what it smelled. Not sure of shock or exhaustion, but both our dumbasses fell asleep. Woke up could have been hours or minutes. No noise. Could hear birds. Woke Friend up. Anon, what are we gonna do? I don't fucking know, man. Can't stay here forever. Open the door. I ain't opening that shit, nigga. We sat in silence for what felt like hours. Fuck this. I'm gonna look outside. Takes a while to unbarricade door. Finally do. Move it back a couple inches. Daylight. Thank you, Jesus. Seems clear. Count of 3 and on we open door and run like hell. 1, 2, 3. Door rolled open and running like fucking Usain Bolt on coke. Gurgle hiss. Blood-curdling gurgle scream. This is it. This is how we die. Just keep running. Never stop running. Friend screams. Keep running. Everything goes blank. Anon, are you okay? Mom? Oh my god, Anon, what happened? I don't know. Where's Friend, Anon? He's inside, he's badly hurt, Anon. What the hell happened? Begin telling Mom everything. Start crying. Just want to see my friend. His dad's in the way. His leg is all ripped up and bleeding. Go inside sobbing. Dad's patching up Friend's leg. Anon, I'm so fucking sorry. Don't be, bro. You did what I would have. We knew we couldn't stop. What happened? I don't know. Anon, I was running behind you and something grabbed my leg. I pulled away and kept running. Didn't even realize I was bleeding. His leg looked like shark bites I've seen. Shredded. Don't know how he managed the last few hundred yards. Told parents everything. Dad's grabbed guns and headed back. Saw nothing. Said the top of the mound was all dug up, another couple inches and it would have opened up. Found huge sets of paw prints deep in the mud. Massive tree branch on the ground where we first saw it. Think the thing was in the trees watching us. Never went back. Often wonder if the boys who drowned in the river through the years really drowned. Bodies never found.
This one deserves to be recorded. I'd hear it again with a spooky background music. Hell, I'd watch the movie.
It's as true as my friend and I and our families remember it to be. We grew up in Elk County, Pennsylvania, and the river was the Clarion River. When our fathers went back armed with guns, my father took 4 paces between the front and back paws or claws from where it first appeared standing still. The branch that it fell or leapt from was dead, and its weight must have broken it. Anyway, we measured his paces later at right around 2 feet, maybe slightly more, meaning roughly 8 feet foot to foot. I can't describe it well other than it moved like a cat moves, but much longer and taller than anything I've ever seen. I've searched zoos, encyclopedias, National Geographic, etc. Literally in source I could find of every known predator, and nothing quite matches it. I've listened to hundreds of predator growls, screams, roars, etc. And nothing matches that terrifying gurgling hiss, like it had some kind of liquid in its throat. I've since spent time hunting, camping, and hiking in woods all over the country, but there is nothing on this earth that will ever lead me back to that forest. My friend and I have since drifted apart, and rarely ever speak, but he still bears the scars and will forever walk with a limp. I remember the first time I watched the first Avatar movie. I legit left the theater terrified when the Thanator scene came up. That fucking thing was so close to what we saw. I won't say it looked the same, it was dark, we were young and fucking terrified, but the size and the movement were so similar. Anyway, thanks for the positive feedback. That shit changed my life forever. To this day, I'm claustrophobic and sleep with a light on.
All right, time for the weirdest story. Be 11 or 12 years old. Trip to some big-ass water park for summer 'cause no camp this year. I was big into scouts and shit like that at that age. Trip was super cool. Going back home after 3 days of fun, not even sad 'cause I'm so satisfied with trip. Suddenly a feeling comes over me. Dad, I need to take a number 2. Pull up on nearby gas station. Okay, Anon, go poop and we gonna refuel and buy some stuff, just be quick. Go into toilet. Pick related, expect no mirrors and stall doors, we're more like the shitty ones at school. Go into the stall on left. There were 3 stalls and the one in the middle was occupied. Poopin' and minding my own business when I hear an ungodly scream. Something like a mix between a deer and a bear. Scared so much I no longer need to poop but don't want to leave stall. Hear weird voice or voices? Hard to tell. Speak in some weird language. Latin, I think, although not sure. See blood flowing on the floor from the middle stall. Jesus Christ help me. MP3. My stall door shakes violently. Scream like a little girl. Beg for mercy. Everything stops. Blood is gone. Bathroom empty. No clue what the fuck just happened. Want to get out. Door to outside won't open even though it lacks a lock. DAFQ do I do now? Scream for help. Dad hears me. I'll get helping on. Calm down a bit. Turn around. Middle stall is open and I see this massive fucking shadow monster thing. I vividly remember that it was dark with large horns and eyes that reflected light, like animal eyes on photos do. But not much beside that. Scream louder than ever in my life as it slowly approaches me. Right when it's like 3 meters from me, some biker with a crowbar who my dad recruited opens the door. They look and see nothing in there. They think I'm crazy. Dad is mad at me for a couple of months 'cause he had to pay for that door.
Be me, about 12 years old, used to hike behind friend's house down a huge Texas drainage ditch. Always told his mom we stayed in the house. No cell phones, no weapons, mostly tall grass, chain link fences that are the back of warehouses and factories. One day, we're going through the forest, talking to friend Turn. See a man. He's just staring at us. Realize we're in his home in the woods. He has little structures built, about 4 of them, all different shapes. One tent, the others I don't remember really. One was kind of blocky looking. Kept talking to my friend. Staring at the man, he stares back. Start walking around. Don't look back. Years later. Hey, remember when we saw that guy in the woods? Friend has no recollection. I have no idea how he didn't see him. I thought him being quiet was just playing along with me, pretending like he wasn't there, signaling to the man that we weren't going to bother him. Some part of me wonders if he's still there in the woods.
Another GF story. Be me. 12:30 a.m., November 12th, 2020. Sophomore in college, bringing my girlfriend to my place to meet the family. Home is in Middle Tennessee, semi-rural. There is a large forest behind my parents' house that is hundreds of acres. We are awake at night so we can get the PS5, which was releasing at 4 a.m. at the local GameStop. Full moon, super clear and bright night. Let's go look at the stars up at the cat wires. There are TVA cat wires running an electrical grid through the forest. Huge clearing at the top of a hill in the forest next to the cat wires. We see my neighbor's giant white cat playing around the entrance to the path. Pet cat. We go to top of the hill in the forest. Was lit, got my dick sucked too at the cat wire. Nothing suspicious yet. Appreciating the stars. Around 1 a.m. we start to walk back to my truck, which is parked at edge of forest. Begin to hear a strange howl or hoo about a mile away and in two separate places. Could be a coyote, owl, or other wild animal, so we thought nothing of it. Keep walking. We are only about 500 to 1,000 feet away from my truck now. Howl proceeds to approach us and turns into something that sounds like an Aztec death whistle, with loud clicks in 1-second intervals. Sound is very close now, coming from the treetops at this point. My girlfriend and I didn't even say anything, but we were now running for our lives. The sound is now coming from about 4 different directions, all in the forest, and couldn't be more than 500 feet away from us and closing in fast. We break through the forest shrubbery, ditching the regular path to my truck. I quickly jump into the bed while GF is already starting the truck. Peel out. I stare into the wilderness, and at this point I can only hear my heartbeat and the engine. Later, at GameStop parking lot, my girlfriend tells me she saw what was chasing us in the forest. Said it looked like a human-sized gray raccoon running swiftly on its hind legs. Never seen my girlfriend more afraid in my life. Never spoken of again.
Be me, 10 or 11 years old. Friend from baseball team invited a bunch of us for some sleepover thing. 7 of us there. We're watching Avengers outside. He brings out 3 flashlights, suggests we go into the forest behind his house. I get one, he gets one, another kid gets one. 2 kids go with him, one with me, another with 3rd flashlight kid. We go separate from the others into the woods. Boy with me says, "How deep into the woods are we going?" He's the only pussy of the group. Until we get lost. Plan to mess with him works, he's clearly scared. Walk for a few minutes, same old trees, nothing notable. Boy stops, dead silent. I turn around to him. Looks like he is about to burst into tears as he points up. Turn back around. Fucking deer split down the middle, intestines all over the place, claw marks all over it and the trees around. Highest claw marks are 20 feet up on the trees. The deer is still breathing. We turn back and run like we've never fucking run before. We get back. Everyone has been waiting for us. We say that we're all sleeping inside. No further explanation. Tell the kid that organized the whole thing the next day what we found. Parents went into the forest. Didn't find anything. No blood, deer, or claw marks. Both me and the boy with me know what we saw.
I've been having a few encounters with the Ratman recently, and I feel that I need to tell you guys about one encounter that left with the idea that the Ratman is more than a myth. Be me 2 weeks ago. Come home late from work. Tired as fuck, so I hop into bed instantly. Leave window open because summer where I am is hotter than a motherfucker. Fall asleep almost instantly. Wake up sometime later. Nothing unusual, just feel kinda hungry, so I grab something from the kitchen. As I walk into the kitchen, I notice a silhouette outside in my garden through the window. Think it's just some junkie and kinda yell at him to GTFO or I'll beat his ass. The thing gets on all fours and fucking crawls into the wooding. In pure shock at first, but try to think realistically what it could have been. Feel a bit spooked, so went back to bed and tried to get some shut-eye. Wake up again to scratching on my window maybe 2 hours later. Nope, out of my bed and hit the light switch. Pull back my curtains in horror. Most disgusting fucking thing in my life. Huge, and I mean huge fucking rat humanoid. Maybe 6 feet tall, I really don't know. The thing bolts it away on all fours. Don't get any sleep that night as I patrolled my house looking for the thing from each and every window. Still haven't been getting any sleep since. But the rat thing hasn't been around since either. So maybe it's all over? Please share other encounters with the rat man. I hope to God I'm not the only one on this board who has seen it.
Also, what did the creature's face look like? Like a rat's face, or a human, or a morph of both?
It was a rat's face, but really wrinkly and just generally foul to look at. If only I could draw and try illustrate what I saw. OP back. Sorry, was busy with other things all day. After that incident, I have been having this strange feeling of being watched since. And maybe it's just my head playing with me, but I swear to God, when I look at the garden every now and then, I see it in the distance for a split second.
This is gonna sound like bullshit, but I've seen a rat man before too. It was in Boston in the small hours of morning. I'm not from Boston. I'd come into the city to watch the Sox play. I was getting on the T to Cambridge to catch a bus home to South Mass. The station was pretty much empty. There were a couple of sketchy-looking people hanging out, but other than that, it was just me. The train pulled up. A handful of people got off. The idlers went into a car towards the front. I passed two girls getting in and went down to sit by the gangway. The train car had cleared out. I was settling in, all alone at the far end. In through the door on the opposite face of the carriage trotted a big, shaggy animal. The doors closed right behind it. I saw it out of the corner of my eye and did a double take. When the train started moving, it slid a little but got its footing quick. It was just moving around like it was looking for something, sniffing around with its nose up in the air. It was unmistakably a rat, 6+ feet long from the nose to the tip of his tail. He sat up on his hind legs to investigate a handrail, and I judged him to be about 5'5" in that orientation. I hadn't moved a muscle since I took notice of it. If I agitated him, I'm sure he could have bitten a hand clean off, and any scratches he gave me would have given me some kind of infection. No doubt he noticed me, but he was unbothered. I was paralyzed all the same. It was so surreal. He reeked like death, like milk that went bad several years ago. He looked right at home in that subway car, and he continued his exploration for some until the next stop, where he got off. Since that encounter, I've reasoned that it was probably just a dog that in my tiredness I mistook for a man-sized rat, but that long naked tail seemed so undeniably real.